Having a real lemonade phase.
Much like Beyonce, you're in your lemonade era.
Mm-hmm.
Why and how?
Don't know. Just have a real compulsion to always drink Sprite.
Is it a citrus thing? Like, are you going heavy on OJ as well? Or is it like you need a soft drink?
No, it's just like I think it's the bubbles and the lemon lime, and it's cold. You know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been a lemonade person, so I can't really relate to you, but I'm happy for you. I hope
It's not a
that...
great look. It's not a great look. I'll be honest. It's kind of childish.
I mean, it does class up at a glance, though. Like a glass bottle, that's not your, your little cousin's birthday party. That's Big Boy Michael's got his real pants on, and he's drinking a imported 7-Up.
There's this Savlaki's place down the road.
Yeah, I can see you eating chips.
My
Oh, God.
yeah.
Do you need 10 minutes? I'm not in a rush. Do you want to go eat your lunch?
No, I am in a rush. Clearly.
Okay. Fine. Well, I guess
just
fuck
look
it.
at it.
Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. This is the podcast. We've got shit to do today. Michael has a Savlaki that's going cold next to him, and he's swigging 7-Up like it's nobody's business. And this is the state of the podcast. We talk about the things that matter, and this week, who knows what the fuck that is. Sitting through the internet with me this week, my friend Michael. Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Nick. Hi. Thank you. My name's Nick. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
And my name's Nick. Hi, Nick. Hi.
What was it? What are we talking about today? Because I didn't even realize we had started the podcast. To be honest.
I hope that you're recording. It seems like you have places to be. Well, let's start with that. You're away for this weekend.
We're going down to the well, I won't say where it is, but to the forest. I've been there before. I've told you about it, I think. Send you some photos. Just
Yeah.
Lauren's place that she inherited with her sister and her cousin, just near the Great Ocean Road. So we're going down there just to. I'm going to exclusively work on the game stuff. I'm not sure if I should say that here, but
Nice. You can say
yeah,
that.
it's just basically just like a retreat. Lauren's got a bunch of craft things that she's gonna do, and I'm just gonna knuckle down for this trailer.
Awesome. That's very exciting. I'm already there. I'm at your wife's siblings' cabin in the woods, and I have to say the weather's beautiful.
A few mosquitoes there. You look like you're right on the lake.
I'm sitting very close to the water, so there are a few bugs around. But I actually feel like, generally speaking, mosquitoes aren't that interested in me. I feel like, I don't know, you strike me as someone that mosquitoes go for, and I'm one of those lucky people where it's just kind of like, oh, one just sort of flew by me, and everyone else is being like mobbed, you know?
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if I should have taken that as a compliment, but I did. So
You're
thank you.
attractive to insects.
Yeah, I do get bitten by mosquitoes, but I think what makes me different when it comes to this subject is that I don't care. I'll happily cop a bite from a mosquito, and I'll just itch it like crazy for 3 days. I don't care.
You like a little bit of like a
Part of me likes it.
on-body fidget spinner.
Something
like
to
a little
do.
bit of something to do.
Something to do. You know, if I'm
Yeah.
concerned about the mosquito bite itching on my ankle, then I'm not concerned about my rising levels of debt
Yeah, or the cholesterol clogging up your heart. Yeah.
or climate change denial.
It's just nice to have, which is actually what takes a lot of your time up.
Yeah.
Okay, I've left the lakeside. I'm back in my office now. I've
Why
changed
were
my
you
background.
doing that?
I just was waiting for you to turn up, and I saw all these buttons, and I decided I'd press the buttons.
So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's been happening. Tell me things.
Well, I wanted to start, actually. This is verging on what we'd call in the journalism business cold news. But I actually wanted to just go back to the No Kings protest, which feels like forever ago. 2 weeks ago, basically. And I just had this sort of lingering thought, because there was a lot of discussion about that kind of gesture, the protest and the march and things. And there was discourse about, is this actually a productive gesture and what benefit comes from it? And I wondered if you had any opinions as to the purpose of or efficacy of a march or a protest like that.
Well, from all accounts, the march, that No Kings March, was a great example of a healthy, productive protest. Maybe, I mean, productive is what you're asking, but I think it set a very good example for how things could be run. Like people were defying, the U.S. regime and the many things that Donald Trump is doing to upend the Constitution there. And I think they did it. They did it brilliantly. I do think there is a tendency for people to demonize protests that they don't particularly agree with. In Australia, we had the lockdown protests. The people, the freedom fighters, right? People were. I remember at the time, people on the left were, accusing those self-titled freedom fighters of, being stupid and, admittedly they were they were probably more aggressive. But then
Wait. Sorry. Riverside just fucked up, and all I got then was you saying, admittedly, they were more aggressive. Like, legitimately just caught itself in a loop.
No, that's what I did.
I don't know. Okay. Okay.
Just wanted to ram
I'm sorry
home
for
the
interrupting.
Yeah, so during those lockdown protests from, I guess, people on the right, people that were labeling themselves freedom fighters, there was some, people on the left, people who are probably more inclined to wear a mask and state the rules and say, but also on social media, stay at home, kind of parroting the rules as well. But then the George Floyd protests happened, and then those same people were out marching, and it was like, well, no, this is for a good cause. So I just think my point is, and I know I've taken the scenic route to make it, but I have no issue. I respect people who care enough about a cause to go out and protest, but I think people should also keep in mind that when people are protesting and it's not necessarily your cause, you have to accept that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable point. Yeah. I think assuming that there are baselines, right, where it's the people in good faith are there with a belief and it is not actively violent or, a threat to the broader community, then yes, people have the right to say their opinions and to march it. There becomes grey areas, of course, but you're right. I think for the most part, those people have the same rights to protest that all of us do. The tricky one, like, then you start to go into edge cases a little bit, because when you were talking about the COVID protests, what I was thinking about was the Wellington Freedom March stuff here, where there were thousands of people camped outside the Parliament House in Wellington for like a full month in like tents, like sleeping on the ground, trespassing, sleeping on the grounds, protesting the, at the time, Ardern government and the way they had handled the COVID lockdowns and all of that other thing. And they camped there for weeks, and they were loud and they were disruptive. And then at a certain point, it became like a security risk. It was impeding access for traffic and emergency services. It was affecting the surrounding shops and businesses and things. And at a certain point, they moved everyone along. But it got quite heated. And it is interesting when you look at the things like the American university, pro-Palestinian protests and things, where there is a little bit more of like a longer time frame on it. There starts to become blurrier questions about at what point is this disruption or dangerous, or at what point is the free speech line removed, or once you've made your point, have you made your point?
Yeah, and it's
And
also
I'm not
sorry.
casting value judgments on either of those. I'm just saying that
Sure.
you know there's one thing to have a 2 hour march, and it's another thing to be camped out in a place for 4 months. You know.
Totally. And the tricky thing is, on the back of what you just said, is that if you're protesting, implicit in that is that you care very deeply about this issue. And, if you think about climate protesters blocking the highway, sitting across the highway like blocking traffic. Now, if you ask them, obviously that's a colossal annoyance to a lot of people, and it's probably doing more harm to your cause than good. But then if you ask them, they'll be like, well, like to them, the climate crisis is so massive and existential, blocking traffic for a few hours pales in comparison. And I guess it's the same with any protest. It's like, even camping on the Parliament grounds, whatever you said, all of this stuff, all of these actions, all of these versions of protest to the people who are protesting, breaking the law doesn't even compare to what their concern is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the scale of it is just so different. And I suppose that's a similar sort of question for the No Kings thing, right? Like, ultimately, what you're protesting is so far above, like, the social status of the people that are walking the streets, right? Like, the you're effectively begging the political powers that be to take action, or the man himself to suddenly generate self-awareness, which he clearly did not, because he posted videos of himself dropping shit out of a plane onto all of the protesters. But I suppose that comes back to my original question as well of like, if we take it, well, I suppose that I shouldn't even make that assumption. What is the outcome that you can hope for from a protest? And there are criticisms laid that this is sort of that the No Kings protests in particular were a comfort food protest for well-meaning but perhaps not politically mobilized, middle class white,
Yeah.
rich people to come
They
and
were
show their
older.
support,
They were older too.
and
Weren't
older, and that kind of thing, versus perhaps a more frontline, as you described, like the eco, climate change activist archetype of like a little bit more freedom fighter, if you will. The No Kings thing, I think, was one of, if not the largest protest days in history. I think they said over 7 million people across the country.
they? Yeah.
And in the immediate aftermath, I don't think we can point to anything that has changed as a result of it. But I
No.
do think that it probably... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think I feel like with that, and it was a few years ago with the pink hats. What was that one? Was that Me Too? Pussy hats.
Yeah, that must have been Me Too, I guess.
It's a show. Another non-violent protest is what I mean by that. It's the show. It's. I don't think I'm not sure if anyone really thought anything tangible was going to come out of the protest, but it is a display on the streets rather than hiding behind or in the comment section of a YouTube video. It's physical people out in the streets en masse, and
Yeah.
that I think that's what it's like. We're here, like we hate this, and you can see us.
Yeah. I think that's my takeaway too, is that it's affirming to see the scale of it, to be reminded that I think by most numbers, like Trump's popularity levels are underwater. By most polls, the anti-Trump populace is much larger than the Trump faithful, right? And I saw as well a statement that getting the what's the word, like the half interested political participants to come out to the street, who may have some trepidation about it, who may worry about what the consequences are, who may worry about police involvement or military appearance or anything, and getting large numbers out there to walk the street and make their voice heard is a beneficial long-term act for when it matters later. You now have a whole bunch of people who have experience, who wrote their signs, who, showed up with their, masks or milk or whatever they were in preparation, their burner phones, and did the street walk and felt okay about it. And now next time when it matters again, they'll be more likely to do it. And maybe that time is the time when it does really swing things. So it is almost like a normalization aspect and a restatement of the broad acceptance of a stated belief or stated agenda.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is with just protest broadly, like protest as a concept, is that first of all, the cause is subjective. So and people have very different views about certain issues.
Every aspect of life, yeah.
But then also what a protest is subjective. I mean, the guy who yelling out at Tom York, that's a protest.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, the way what you're protesting and how you do it. This is why it's fraught, because it's so it's so tricky to find that balance, that productive balance. And if you're on the streets in Russia and you're protesting Putin's anti-gay, Putin blatantly killing Navalny, right?
Yeah.
Where he's putting, and America's not far from this at the moment. He's getting military involved and actively kind of blowing the protesters up.
Yeah.
To me,
you get swept up off the street and disappeared, and you're never seen again.
Right. And to me, that's on a different level of protest because probably because I agree with the cause more, which is kind of nullifies what I previously said. But also when what you're protesting, what you're opposing, is in full display of the world, being the aggressor to you, I think that's on a different level.
And I mean, there's the degree of self-sacrifice is so much higher because those people go out there knowing there's every chance that they will die, that they'll disappear or die or be made an example of or whatever. But the moral imperative to stand up against the regime, the Putin regime, is so high, and life with, as it currently stands, so untenable that it, leads to these kind of, acts of bravery and desperation.
Yeah.
And luckily, America is not in that state yet where a protest has the same degree of risks. But certainly numbers like 7 million people turning up alleviate some of that fear. And again, perhaps then sways people who would otherwise not have got out and, to join, that it's actually perhaps even fun, perhaps even an enjoyable, affirming kind of statement rather than just a self-sacrifice and a risk with pretty serious consequences.
Yeah. And the other thing is that protests do work. Like from time to time, they do really
of course.
affect change.
No, absolutely. I'm not sure that Trump is the person who responds to, oh my God, 7 million people don't like me. Oh my God. Like, I don't think that. Yeah, he's probably not the person, but I think it does, at the very least, send a message to, for instance, Democrats who have been pissing about doing fucking nothing, that, hey, maybe this is, maybe if we did take a bit of a stronger tack, that there's actually some support for those kind of behaviors instead of just like rolling over whenever Trump decides to do his next illegal thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing the Democrats' dirty work for them.
Is that right?
Moment. Have you not seen what she's been saying? She's been calling him out, calling out Johnson for not swearing in what's her name? Havalda?
No, I don't. I haven't been following this. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know how Mike Johnson's not swearing in the uh, Arizona senator because she's going to be the final vote for for releasing the Epstein files.
Oh,
He's been
right.
holding. Have you not seen any of this?
No, I haven't.
He's been delaying swearing her in for like a month now, which is insane, and he's just
Yeah,
denying
right.
it. Anyway, we don't need to.
Um, I did want to just circle back to the protest thing in an Australian context because there are now laws against protesting in Australia that have been introduced. There are dozens of protest regulations in many states, with five: New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, and Victoria, introducing forms of anti protest regulation most recently. South Australia's new laws passed just last month increase maximum fines from $750 to $50,000, along with potential jail time, and were prompted by disruption of an oil and gas conference by protesters in early May. In the aftermath of protests which sought to block port operations and shut down economic action to draw attention to demands for climate action, the New South Wales Parliament passed legislation which sees protesters face up to a $22,000 fine or prison for a maximum of 2 years. So there's similar laws here. The gist of it, I think, is that they cite these kind of protests as needing to be criminal because it puts workers in harm's way. There's sort of a bit of a broader push here across many liberal democracies to water down the right to protest. And I think it's fair to ask the question of what historically might have been different had these laws existed back then. There's an example here in the ABC article talking about how the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras began in 1978 with an attempt by a small group of gay liberation protesters to march down Darlinghurst Road. Back then, they were violently bashed by the New South Wales police. But today, of course, authorities can prevent these kind of events from ever taking place, either by using like technology or semi-military gear. At recent Melbourne protests, for instance, they used flashbangs, stinger balls, rubber bullets, and pepper spray, all ordnance with a genuine risk of causing serious harm up to and including death. So I wonder if you have any opinions here about that balance between disruption and the right to protest, because it feels like the governments have been actively tamping down on this in the last few years.
Yeah, well, it's not a good look for the government to be wanting to water down protesting at all, I think. But to play devil's advocate here, I'd say that it does feel that the world is a bit of a pressure cooker at the moment, and people are becoming radicalized quicker on the internet, and it's kind of bubbling up at the moment. So in Melbourne recently, we had Free Palestine protests on the same day as like an Australia, thing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you know what I'm getting at with those two groups. And it got real nasty real quick. And maybe one solution would be to make sure that you're separating those protests if you can, but you can't, I don't think. But I can kind of see it from that perspective, where it's like if the world is a pressure cooker, having a protest is just too dangerous. I wouldn't personally vote for that, but
it's tricky. I guess it depends again on the context of the society you're talking about, because it's different if you're in America, where there's every chance people have guns and things, versus if it's in Australia, where there's large masses of people and maybe the police are armed, or at least have shields and things, but they're unlikely to be subject to like rifle fire in the same risk capacity. The interesting thing
it's not going to make the problem go away. If you're going to water down, it's going to go underground, and that's probably way more dangerous than silencing a protest.
Yeah, it like, I don't like the slippery slope argument, but it does seem like the first step towards worse outcomes, because political belief isn't dissuaded by the presence or not of protests or an outlet like that. I think those beliefs are still existing already. whether it's in online spaces or in the household or whatever, and having an outlet sometimes is the healthy expression of it, because
Yeah.
either you get 7 million people walking along and you realize, oh, fuck, thank you. Not everyone is like them. There are people fighting for normalcy, for democracy, for the return of constitutional order. Or on the flip side, oh, fuck, I really thought this was going to be a huge movement and there's only 12 other Nazis with me and everyone is spitting on me and maybe I should be embarrassed by my beliefs.
Yeah.
One way or another, that expression has results. It exists in the real world.
Yeah.
This ABC article here that I'm reading as well has an interesting kind of angle on it, so I might just read a little bit here. The restrictions on strikes, like the bans on protests, stem from what we might call the neoliberal turn. Since the mid-1980s, governments all over the world have imposed privatisation, deregulation, and similar measures on workers. But neoliberalism also involves a different conception of democracy, one in which the political realm is subordinated to the market. The hegemony of the economy recasts the populace as consumers rather than citizens. It transforms governments into a technocratic activity in which ordinary people can play no part. The gradual crackdown on industrial activity and demonstrations reflects politicians' view of popular agency as dangerous and disruptive to the delicate machinery of the market. What we might call the privatization of the social order has fundamentally reshaped the nature of public debate. Once upon a time, political parties enrolled ordinary people in branch meetings, debates, conferences, and the like. But now, almost all forms of collective or community organisation have collapsed. As Josh Nicholas puts it, almost two-thirds of Australians were members of social groups in 2006, including sports, religious, or hobby groups. But that is now about half. Only about a quarter are members of community groups such as local service clubs and emergency services, and fewer than 10% are members of political groups, which include trade unions. That's the context for the current debate, with most politicians and pundits taking for granted that activities once considered fundamental to democracy constitute an existential threat to it. So, do you think that the way that society has evolved, and we're now like at home, we're not going to church, we're not in social groups, we're not in the community as much, everyone's living in their online worlds, what effect do you think that that's had on the way that we view political participation and, as a result, the expression of speech in the form of a march or something like that?
Well, I guess maybe physical protests, has less impact now because people. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true because there's probably more media coverage of it now. I'm not sure. One thought I did have when you were saying that was that people, I guess, are going to church less, and I wondered if people are finding a sense of community online now, on YouTube or Reddit or Twitter or whatever, more than they are in the church, which is a physical attendance, at least once a week, I guess. I wonder if that might have an issue. But although I did see an article that said that Gen Z is starting to outpace their parents now in terms of church attendance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, and maybe it's specific to the States.
A certain country, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if our sense of community, or where we find community now, has mutated a little bit, and maybe that has an effect.
Well, particularly given that we, are aware of how polarized politics is now. Like, you don't tend to have a middle ground as much anymore. So you'd think that actually brews bigger conflict between, or bigger likelihood of protesting than, if everyone was sort of in a slosh in the middle with certain outliers. Maybe that does make it more likely to become something worth marching for if you're further and further apart from the opposition.
Yeah. Well, with the religion thing, it just occurred to me that religion has been used by a lot of governments in order to control people. So in some sense, protesting or thinking for yourself is the opposite of religion and the opposite of being controlled. Is there anything there, do you reckon?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's true. But do you think that would that not suggest that in a time when there was more religion historically, people would be less likely to protest? I don't know the
Yeah,
prevalence.
yeah,
What's it like these days versus what it used to be?
yeah, true. And they probably had, you know, more to protest about back then as well.
Yeah, I mean, social conditions in the 50s versus today. Who knows? There
Yeah,
would be a huge amount of things on the to-do list still that we take for granted today.
yeah, totally.
Anyway, I just
Have you
thought that
ever
was
been
an
to a
interesting.
protest? Have you ever protested anything?
I don't think I've been to a protest. I've
You
been to a
protested
few what
past
I
the
would
go-go once.
call. I did, but that was a protest of one.
Led the movement, the anti-pasta go-go movement.
Yeah, it was 2006, back when I was still part of social clubs. The the what was I about to say? I haven't been part of protests, but I've been part of, like, I guess what you would call like community activism, I guess. Like, I've been to, like, pride parades. I went to the post Christchurch shooting. There was a whole bunch of people that went into the park at the time of prayer, and just sort of in solidarity sat around in the aftermath of it, and like a few things like that. But no, I haven't. I don't think there has been something that I've actively been a protest for.
Me neither. I mean, I have made a couple of controversial Facebook posts, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily. I'm not sure we're
But
classifying that as protests.
that's more with, like, an international scale. Like, you're really protesting, society on a global scale, not just like your
right.
local. You're politically, you're very international focused.
Yes, I'm anti-society.
They're what they call an anarchist.
Not a very popular, not a very popular movement. Are you bringing this up because you've seen one battle after another? Because this is what this movie is all about, baby.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen it. I genuinely, I'm planning to see it tomorrow, and I was so excited because I was going to talk about it on Sunday, but we're recording early, and so nope.
I'll record on Sunday as well if you want.
You're in a
Emergency
cabin in the woods.
PTA pod.
Yeah.
You seen it at the movies?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the theater. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think it's streaming yet, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm going
It's
to
lost $100 million. You see that? It's the most critically acclaimed movie of the last year or two, and lost 100 mil.
I don't think that any of his
Unbelievable.
movies would make money, though.
No.
What else you got going on? You got any, like, bits and pieces for me? You got some news. You got some gags.
Yep. So I got I've got a surplus of weird news that I'm gonna have to get off my my brain, and it's a lot of weird news.
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh,
Give me, Michael.
wait! I got something serious.
Okay.
Real quick. Oh, I love it when I have serious things. Maybe a little science news. Yeah, I guess it's the science news.
Okay. Would you like me to play the jingle?
I would love it. Play it.
It's that time. Time for science news.
Alrighty.
Very interesting New York Times article came out last week. Peanut allergies have plummeted in children,
Oh.
study shows. Doctors have long recommended that infants avoid peanut products, but in 2017, experts officially reversed that guidance and food allergies sharply decreased. Food allergies in children dropped sharply in the years after new guidelines encourage parents to introduce infants to peanut products, a study has found. For decades, as food allergy rates climbed, Experts recommended that parents avoid exposing their parents to common allergens.
Exploding
But a
their
landmark
children.
What?
Exposing their children. You said recommend against avoiding exposing their parents to peanuts.
Oh, infants. Sorry,
Yeah.
I meant to say infants. But a landmark trial in 2015 found that feeding peanut products to babies could cut their chances of developing an allergy by over 80%. In 2017, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases formally recommended the early introduction approach and issued national guidelines. The new study found that food allergy rates in children under 3 fell after those guidelines were put into place, dropping to 0.93% between 2017 and 2020 from 1.46% between 2012 and 2015.
Wow.
That's a 36% reduction in all food allergies, driven largely by a 43% drop in peanut allergies. The study also found that eggs overtook peanuts as the number one food allergen in young children. The study did not examine what infants ate, so it does not show that the guidelines caused the decline. Still, the data is promising. While all food allergies can be dangerous, 80% of people never outgrow a peanut allergy. That's basically the short of it. But isn't that
So
interesting?
it's the germ theory, right? The exposure theory of infants, but applied to allergens as well. Get your kid out there, roll them around in the dirt, give them as many bacteria and jabs as you can, and feed them any kind of slop that you got.
Slip
and
that one in there, didn't you?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about that's the prime time, right? Like, get every possible, get your body when it's young and malleable to experience every kind of substance out there, and prepare it for later.
Yeah, horror movies.
Horror movie, show you
porn.
show them porn and
If you're
horror
really
movies
progressive.
as early as possible.
Early as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe get him a Facebook profile. As soon as,
Yeah.
6 months old. Get him on social media.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's interesting the number of things that in our lifetime have reversed, right? Because that was probably a thing that was commonly said when we were growing up, avoid eating certain things until they're older just in case they got an allergy. Well, it turns out exposing them is what stops them getting an allergy. I mean, it's interesting that they've published this data without having evidence that they ate more peanuts, and I guess just hoping from like cultural osmosis or expectations about what was in the foods on the market that they were eating peanuts and that the prevalence was dropping. But slightly odd to have a study about that without a direct correlation that they can point to. Well, either.
Yeah. I wish I didn't read out that line because I heard you go, and I kind of felt like my credibility,
Well, it's in the New York
credibility got
Times.
undermined. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me think as well about, we talked about the gut previously and how the bacteria that we have in the gut and that whole like microbiome is something that as part of our health we pay more attention to, because I think we now are seeing correlations between the kind of bacteria in our gut and things like stomach ulcers, which were historically thought to be acid but are now actually known to be caused by a bacteria, and if you treat that bacteria with antibiotics then you stop having stomach ulcers. And similarly, I think things like Crohn's disease or other kind of things potentially have digestive tract related good bacteria versus bad bacteria kind of questions. So I'm very curious to see if, as we start to return to a childhood model where infants are exposed to as many different things as possible, whether that has any flow-on effects to their kind of internal health as well, and what that might mean for other like connected conditions.
Do you have any allergies? You'd have heaps, wouldn't you?
I don't have allergies, but I have fructose malabsorption, which is certain fruits and vegetables. They just run straight through me.
Name and shame them.
Okay, here's the big boys. Onions. I want you to boo after each of them. Onions.
Boo.
Boo.
Onions are great.
No, we're booing onions. We're not booing me for not being able to eat onions.
I'm doing you 100%
Okay.
just for even
To be
admitting
fair,
you have
that's on
allergens.
that's on me. I should have been more upfront. Pumpkin, boo, pumpkin.
Sad.
Pears, boo, pears.
That's a good one. I'll boo that one. Boo.
You don't like pears? What's wrong with you?
No,
I love pears.
I hate a
I
pear.
just can't eat them. Sweet
Oh.
potato, kumara, like all of these kind of sweet veggies and things. Yeah.
Well, that's onions is a tough one because that's in every good meal ever.
Yeah. Onions, thankfully, don't leach fructose. So if you're cooked with them, the fructose stays in the skin of the onion. So I can pick out onion and still eat the dish. That's not true for other things.
Okay, wow. Fascinating.
Okay, you could try and at least pretend. You asked. You got any allergies? Yeah, I do actually. Oh, fascinating.
I'm allowed to get bored with your answer to my question. All right, do you want some weird or...
Hey, I've had this link here in my notes for fucking ever, so I'm just gonna click it, and this is not really tangentially even connected to whatever we were just talking about, but it just feels close enough that I'm gonna cram it in anyway.
Shove it in, baby.
This was a thread on X. Every time we bring up medieval medicine, we have to mention bloodletting. What a dumb treatment, we think. Modern medicine is evidence-based and would never do something so ineffective and superstitious. Well, no, we routinely choose superstition over evidence. For instance, what is the common treatment for a flesh wound? You slather it with the disinfectant like alcohol, iodine, or H2O2, but there's no evidence showing that these beat tap water or saline, and they could actually be harmful because they kill your healthy cells, which slows healing. What is always missing from wound care discussion? Honey. The problem with antiseptics is that they're indiscriminate, killing our own cells as well as invaders, leaving dead tissue as a food source for bacteria, plus antibiotics fail on resistant strains like MRSA. Honey elegantly solves both of these problems because it works by creating a hypertonic solution that sucks the water out of cells by osmosis, among other mechanisms. It's selective because our living tissues can get more water from the body, while invaders can only shrivel and die. Could bacteria evolve to resist honey? We know it's hard or impossible because honey doesn't spoil. We have honey stored by ancient Egyptians that is still perfectly good. And speaking of the ancient Egyptians, they knew it was excellent for wound care. If honey works on wound infections, why don't doctors use it? Or sugar, less effective, but it's a pure, uniform white powder that fits modern medical aesthetics. One problem is that they're too cheap and can't be patented, so there's no funding for research and FDA approval. But also, we Western modern people maintain a strong food versus medicine distinction. We've put honey and sugar in the food category, so they can't be medicine. This superstition causes so much pain, suffering, and destruction of microbiomes with antibiotics. It's not much better than bloodletting. So, here's a thought. Next time you cut yourself, put some honey on it. Don't put some betadine on it. Don't antiseptic it. You're probably doing more harm than good.
My grandma, my baba, she is very big into pure honey as a healer for everything. She's eating that raw manuka shit 24/7.
Yeah,
She whenever she calls me on the phone, she tells me to eat honey.
She's probably not wrong. I mean, that's the other thing that we know when it comes to sore throats and coughs. Honey, just eating raw honey off a spoon, is better than the cough syrups and medicines that you get in the supermarket. So anything that's there to make you stop coughing or that's meant to clear a chest or anything like that, they're all, for the most part, completely useless. If they're in the supermarket, it's not worth spending your money on them. Again, honey for a sore throat and a cough actually has proven scientific study-based evidence to show it's better than getting your Benadryl. So she's not wrong.
Man,
Those fucking bees.
Those bees can't do any wrong. And it's delicious as well. It's so
delicious. That's the one problem with putting honey on a cut. You'll
lick it.
You're just too tempting to lick it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for finally giving me an excuse to read that little bit of facts.
You're so very welcome.
If you've enjoyed this podcast episode so far, well, great news. It ain't over yet, mate. Stick around. But before we get there, why don't you think about some of these options I present for you? You could follow us on Facebook. You could send us a comment to deepfort@gmail.com. You could leave us a message on Spotify. And while you're there, rate us 5 stars. You can do the same on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Instagram. And, of course, we're on Spotify, both for the podcast, but also for all of our music. Michael, it is coming up scary close to Christmas song season, and I am worried, but, we've got a month.
It is spooky. It's also Halloween today.
It is Halloween.
It is spooky. How is your song going?
It doesn't exist. I have a premise, and I have 2 lines, and that is the only thing that I have, and it nerves me out a lot, to be honest.
You should try and make it exist soon.
I really, really need to. Yeah. How's yours going?
It's going great, almost done, whatever, who cares? Fuck. And it's the best one ever, so, oh good, who cares?
Okay.
You'll care, probably.
Fuck me.
Or I could be saying that just to throw you off.
No, I don't think you do. You're too cocky.
Yeah. I am cocky. All right. Yep. Weird news to close this out. Can hear Lauren packing up. So, bang out this weird news.
I'll play the jingle for you now.
No. Oh, yeah.
In the news today from the Strange and Weird Fact File.
Well, for decades, only crackpots and crazy people believed in UFOs.
Deputies could say the suspect told them he's been performing sex acts on animals since the 1970s.
I told about my close encounter with the Yeti. Totally true.
A sticky situation at an airport in Tennessee after baggage was sprayed with rust.
Turns out, the government has been taking them seriously all along.
This is Deep Fort Weird News with Michael Zuberef Sludge.
Thank you for playing the jingle for me, Nick.
You're welcome.
This is from just last month. Argentinian man shocks mourners by showing up to his own funeral alive. This is in the New Zealand Herald.
The New Zealand Herald?
Yeah, baby.
Gosh, they're sort of...
International.
I didn't realize they had a post in Argentina.
An Argentinian man showed up to his own funeral, leaving mourners bewildered as to whose body they were burying. The Daily Mail reported the 22-year-old, who has not been named,
Daily Mail
was on. Sorry, I misread that. The New York Times reported the 22-year-old, who has not been named, was on a multi-day bender in Alderites when his family wrongly identified him as dead. His mother approached local police after hearing a man had been hit and killed by a sugarcane truck. Necessary. That ties it back. Sugarcane.
Yeah, sugar.
No, it doesn't. On September 18th, according to whatever that paper, however that's pronounced, she identified the body as her missing son by his clothing and distinguishing features. Not that distinguishing. But the 22-year-old disrupted his funeral with a stunning declaration that left mourners confused, saying, "I'm alive," probably in an Argentinian accent. He was taken to the local police station where he confessed to have been indulging in a neighboring town when the man died. The body was eventually identified as a 28-year-old man, we'll call him Max. Whatever. Acosta's brother, I don't know who Acosta is because I haven't been reading out the names. No, it's this guy. Okay, so the Max's brother, Hernan, was left upset with how the local authorities had handled the death. Particularly after they initially asked him to view the wrong body, prolonging his identification.
Oh, God.
Quote, first they handed over the body without proper identification. Then they made me go to the morgue twice. We shouldn't have to go through this after everything we've suffered. Max was finally buried on September 23, where mourners described him as loved by everyone. And he did not show up to that funeral.
Yeah,
Max, he was
a lot more dead. Yeah,
it'd be funny if the other guy showed up to that funeral. He's like, "I'm here."
I bet you he would show up. You'd feel a little bit bad, wouldn't you?
You'd be kind of like, yeah, you would feel bad.
I wonder why the guy showed up at his own funeral though. Like, once you realize that it's like that's if you've been like having a piss up at the town over, and then you find out from all of your texts on your phone or the news articles or whatever that you've died and there's a funeral, you've made a conscious choice not to respond to those texts and to turn up at the event. There is no way that he didn't do that deliberately to make drama.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been on the tail end of a bender, Nick, but the idea that you come out of your druggy haze and you realize that you're being buried, there's no way you're not going to that.
Yeah,
that's the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, we can attempt to replicate it for you if you like.
Yeah. Okay. What does that mean?
I'll just throw you a funeral. I won't tell you when.
I would honestly love that. I've already made a playlist for it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, come on. We've still got 7 more minutes. You have 3 more weird newses. Let's rapid fire this bitch.
All right. I'll give you one more. All right. This is in USA Today. Is that good enough for you?
Well, it's better than fucking Daily Mail.
Okay. Lonely sexually frustrated dolphin may be attacking swimmers in Japan.
Tell me something I don't know.
A spate of dolphin attacks on swimmers in Japan's Fukui prefecture is being blamed on one bottlenose, bleep it, on one bottlenose dolphin who researchers believe may be particularly lonely, having been separated from the pod. Oh, his little incel dolphin.
Oh no.
According to NBC News, Japanese news service NHK reported last week that a man had been bitten on both hands by a dolphin while swimming at the beach. Ooh, a bit kinky. The man was the 18th person to be bitten by a dolphin in the area since July. Since 2022, more than 45 people have been injured in the area. Based on unique fin markings captured on film and in video, it is believed that many of the incidents are linked to one single male bottlenose dolphin.
Oh.
Bottlenose dolphins are generally highly social animals that live together in pods, and this dolphin has been spotted swimming alone. Marine researchers say that the dolphin's unusual behavior may be caused by loneliness and sexual frustration after being isolated from a pod. Researchers say the dolphin has also been listening to a lot of Andrew Tate and Tucker Carlson lately. Interesting.
Oh.
And has even...
I'm sure there's no correlation.
And has even expressed his support for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, in some respects then, not a huge surprise.
Okay. Well, USA Today.
USA Today. Okay, one more.
Oh, wow, I love rapid fire weird news time.
Let's hit the trifecta here.
We're going international again.
Okay, so we have had human who showed up at his own funeral to announce that he was still alive. Horny Japanese dolphin biting people on the hands. And now, Michael, 3 from 3. Weird news.
Married British Airways pilot snorted coke off topless woman's chest before trying to fly, saying, "I've been a very naughty boy." This is in the New York Post.
Really?
So it's gonna have a little fluff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll prepare
opens.
myself.
He was going to wing it.
It's quite good.
Pretty good. A British Airways pilot snorted coke off a topless woman's chest while partying hard in South Africa before he attempted to groggily fly a jam-packed flight to London. Mike Beaton, married father of one, had a night off for downtime in Johannesburg before he was scheduled to co-pilot a return flight to London. He spent the night indulging in booze, drugs, and women. He boasted in text messages he sent to a flight attendant pal. "I've been a very naughty boy," he told her. When he tried to fly the following day, the crew member reported the pilot's alarming night to superiors, who cancelled the 12-hour flight to Heathrow, costing British Airways roughly $120,000. Beaton was suspended and flown home as a passenger the following day. He was drug tested at the airport, which he failed, and was subsequently fired. In his text messages to the flight attendant, Beaton said he had met 2 local men a Welsh woman on vacation and a young Spanish bird at a nightclub. After hours of drinking, the group staggered to a hotel bar for a nightcap before they ended up at one of the apartments. Quote, Welsh has decided that I should actually be her boyfriend. Spanish, this is so poorly written. This is why I can't read. This is a quote. Welsh has decided that I should actually be her boyfriend. Spanish has hooked up with one of the two local lads and is having her tits sucked on the sofa, he said. It was a text message. The girls were dancing topless when the cocaine arrived. Goes into a lot of detail about this guy. Essentially, you know, he's just a bit of a naughty boy. Speaking of tits.
Speaking of sniffing, Goosey has joined us.
Speaking of sniffing, that's way more appropriate.
So I have a
very nice.
a small criticism about that, Michael. I don't think that's very weird. I think that most British Airways pilots are getting deliveries of coke in their hotel room overnight between their next flight, and I don't know.
It was boring. I agree. I didn't want to do that one. The one that I wanted to read out to you, but I couldn't find the article, was that this is from 10 weeks ago. A third of Buddhist monks at a northern temple in Thailand tested positive for meth. 6 out of the 18 monks at Wat Pratham Temple in some province in Thailand were disrobed after failing surprise drug tests after a police raid. So the monks
There's so
in
many
Thailand,
questions there. Why are they doing surprise drug tests on monks?
Yeah, true.
What are they?
Maybe they got a tip off.
I didn't think that they really had a real problem
Naughty
with
boy
meth
streak.
usage.
Yeah, naughty boys. Everyone's been a bit naughty boy. I don't know why they're testing monks. Maybe they noticed that the masses or whatever they do were going really quickly.
Just the meditation that was meant to be 8 hours is over in about 40 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't have that article, so I have no other information to give
That's
you.
okay. We'll just end it there very abruptly.